Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood. Since today is Labor Day, I thought it's the perfect time for us to learn a bit about labor unions. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. If you enjoy having days off to sleep in, relax, and spend time with family and friends, you can thank unions. Because labor unions created weekends as we know them. What do you think? Is this an actual fact? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Today's word is collective bargaining. Collective bargaining is the process where a group of employees, represented by their union, negotiates with their employer to reach an agreement on working conditions. This can include wages, working hours, benefits, paid time off, and workplace safety. Instead of each employee trying to negotiate for themselves, the union negotiates on behalf of everyone, or the collective. This creates a more level playing field between workers and management. The term itself was first used in the late 19th century by Beatrice Webb, a British social reformer and one of the founders of the London School of Economics. She saw that individual workers had very little power to influence their powerful employers. However, by banding together, acting as a collective, they could bargain for terms that were more fair and safer for everyone involved. The key idea is strength in numbers, allowing employees to have a powerful, unified voice to advocate for their mutual interests. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about labor unions. Number 1. The very first national labor union in the U.S. was founded right after the Civil War. The National Labor Union, or NLU, was founded in Baltimore, Maryland in 1866, making it the first large-scale national federation of unions in the United States. It was led by a man named William H. Silvis, and the NLU brought together skilled and unskilled workers, as well as farmers, with the ambitious goal of improving life for working people across the country. One of the biggest and most influential campaigns was the fight to establish a standard 8-hour workday, a radical idea at a time when 10 or even up to 16-hour workdays were common. Although the NLU was only active for about 6 years, its influence was enormous. It successfully persuaded Congress to pass a law in 1868 establishing an 8-hour day for federal employees, a major victory that set a new precedent. The NLU also championed other causes like equal pay for equal work and the creation of a National Department of Labor. While the organization itself eventually faded, it laid the essential groundwork for future, more enduring labor organizations like the Knights of Labor and the American Federation of Labor, or AFL. Number 2. Many common workplace benefits we enjoy today exist thanks to the efforts of labor unions. Think about your typical benefits at work. Do you get paid vacation, sick leave? What about a minimum wage or safety regulations that keep you protected on the job? For much of history, none of these things were standard. They were hard-won victories achieved through decades of persistent effort by labor unions and workers' rights advocates who organized, protested, and negotiated to make work safer and more humane for everyone. For example, the movement for the 8-hour workday was a long and difficult struggle that lasted for decades. Tragic events like Haymarket in Chicago in 1886, where a peaceful labor protest turned violent, brought national attention to the cause. It wasn't until 1938, with the passage of the Fair Labor Standards Act, that the 40-hour, 5-day workweek became the law of the land in the United States. This landmark legislation was a direct result of the tireless pressure applied by organized labor. Number 3. There are labor unions in some very surprising and fun professions. When you think of a union member, you might picture a construction worker or a teacher, but the world of organized labor is incredibly diverse. Did you know that most professional athletes are union members? The players in the NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL all have powerful players' associations that function as unions, negotiating everything from player salaries and benefits to safety protocols and the length of the season. Even the referees in many of these leagues have their own unions. But it doesn't stop there. The talented people who bring your favorite cartoons to life are often unionized. The Animation Guild, which has been around since 1952, represents animation artists, writers, and technicians. Even the talented performers at Walt Disney World who portray beloved characters like Mickey Mouse and Cinderella are represented by a union. It just goes to show that workers in pretty much any field imaginable can come together to advocate for their common interests. Number 4. The country with the highest rate of union membership in the world is Iceland. While union membership in the United States hovers around just 10% of the workforce, in the small island nation of Iceland, it's a completely different story. An incredible 92% of Icelandic workers are members of a labor union. This is the highest rate of union density of any country in the world. This widespread participation means that unions play a central and influential role in Iceland's economy and society. This high level of organization is a key feature of the Nordic model of labor relations, which is also common in countries like Denmark, Sweden, and Finland. In this model, unions, employers, and the government work together to set wages and working conditions through broad national agreements. This collaborative approach results in strong worker protections, a robust social safety net, and some of the highest standards of living in the world, proving that strong union presence can be a powerful force for economic stability and shared prosperity. And our fifth and final fun fact for today: the word solidarity became the official motto of the Polish trade union that helped to end communist rule. The word solidarity means unity or agreement of feeling or action, especially among individuals with a common interest. In 1980, this powerful idea was adopted as the name of a new trade union in Poland, Solidarność, which is Polish for solidarity. It began with shipyard workers in the city of Dansk who were protesting for better working conditions, and it grew into a massive social movement that, at its peak, united nearly 1/3 of Poland's working-age population. Led by the future president of Poland, Lech Walesa, Solidarność became the first independent trade union in a Soviet bloc country. Despite being outlawed and suppressed by the government, the movement continued to operate underground, becoming a major force of opposition. The union's peaceful but persistent resistance was a crucial factor in the eventual collapse of communist rule in Poland in 1989. It stands as one of history's most powerful examples of how organized workers, united in solidarity, can bring about monumental political and social change. Now for some news you can use. Here's a tip you can use whether you're in a union or not. You have the right to talk with your coworkers about your pay and working conditions. In the United States, the National Labor Relations Act, or NLRA, protects the right of employees to engage in concerted activity. This is a legal term for when two or more employees take action for their mutual aid or protection regarding their terms of employment. This means you and your coworker can discuss your wages to see if you're being paid fairly, or you could approach your manager together to request better safety equipment or more reasonable hours. You are legally protected from being disciplined or fired by your employer for having these conversations. Knowing this basic right is the first step in advocating for yourself and your colleagues to create a better, more fair, and more transparent workplace. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if it's true that labor unions are the reason we have a 2-day weekend. Well, that's a fact. The weekend as we know it didn't happen by accident. For most of the 1800s, a 6 or even 7-day work week was the norm. It was labor unions who first began to formally demand shorter work weeks. The movement gained serious momentum in the early 20th century. Unions organized strikes and lobbied politicians, arguing that workers deserved a day of rest, a day for family, and a day for what they will. While some business owners like Henry Ford famously adopted the 5-day workweek in 1926 after discovering it increased productivity, it was the decades of pressure from organized labor that made the idea mainstream. Finally, in 1938, the Fair Labor Standards Act made the 40-hour 5-day workweek the law of the land, cementing the weekend into American culture. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about labor unions with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.